how does that square with the public statements about the NFL concerned for the integrity of the game?
Well, it does square in the sense that what they talk about is because the gambling will no longer be offshore, that the NFL will now be partners with these bookmakers, and they'll be able to actually monitor betting patterns in a far more transparent way than it is now. And they certainly are still talking about that, Rich. As you know, that's been Roger Goodell's mantra forever. And they're still very, very concerned about that. But they feel it will be a lot easier to do that, particularly if the bookmakers use the official data of the NFL. And that is a revenue stream that they're expecting to get. So you're going to still hear a lot about the integrity of the game and how important that is. But, this is now the law of the land. And so the NFL is going to figure out a way to monetize it. And those discussions began long before yesterday. And there's just a lot of optimism about what this will do for fan engagement.
Well, in terms of, so how does it work? Because Brent Musburger, who's my next guest on this show, when we mentioned a few months ago Adam Silver's idea, posited in an op-ed, that there would be some form of integrity fee, although it wasn't the words that he used, but it sounds like one. A percentage would go to the league from all the bookmakers. Brent Musburger laughed at that and said that certainly wouldn't happen in his mind, or speaking to anybody that he knows. And certainly since it hasn't happened in Las Vegas and sports betting has been legal there forever. So how does this work monetarily?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, Rich, and I think Brent Musburger was on the money in laughing at it. The discussions that I've had yesterday and this morning, the NFL is, I believe, going to make an announcement pretty soon here in the coming days or weeks that they're opposed to any integrity fee. They just don't think an integrity fee, 1% off the top of wagering is in anyone's interest. They say, practically speaking, it doesn't work from a political perspective because no legislature is going to want to be seen shoveling monies at Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft and billionaire owners. It just doesn't work politically for them. They also don't like the idea that the legislatures can at some point, pull the rug out from this in a year or two if they need to. And they don't like the idea of legislatures being in charge of determining a piece of their revenue pie. It's a business model that the NFL feels that they don't have any control over, and that's the last thing that they want. The other interesting thing about the 1% from the NFL's perspective, as I understand it, Rich, is they see it as another fee that would go on top of that 10% VIG. So the way they see it is if the takeout by the bookmakers, these legal bookmakers around the country, is too high, then the illegal offshore bookmakers will still offer more value to the gambler and won't get put out of business. What's so interesting about this now is the NFL wants the illegal bookmakers, which of course helped turbocharge fan interest for so many years, to be put out of business. And they want the state sanctioned legal bookmakers at racetracks and casinos to put those folks out of business for the transparency reasons I said. And the way to do that is to keep the VIG down. So, it's a brave new world when the NFL is suddenly concerned that the legal bettor will get a fair shake on the VIG.
What a line, Don. So is the NFL going to be the league that takes the lead here, and all the other leagues falling behind with the same model? Or is baseball going to try and do what's best for it? NBA? I mean, how does all this come together, best you can tell, Don?
I'm not sure. That's a really good question because, Adam Silver is pretty adamant that this is NBA content and they should be paid for it with this either 1% integrity fee, or it's a royalty fee, whatever you want to call it, or 0.25%, I think has been the discussion in West Virginia of what it is. And so I think there's a split here, and it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out in the state houses around the country if you have, two of the four major American sports leagues saying they want some kind of integrity fee, and at least the NFL is not interested in that.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.